Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and what you just heard was track 12 of disc 1 from The Sounds of Bohemia. This comes from the 9th Annals, which I happen to have right here, and we are doing the green screen thing, so I'm sorry about that, but I felt like this was just the easiest way to bring you the most information. And in that, you get this, okay? So what I was pointing to here is that it's track 12, and I'm going to read you the passage of what actually happens there. Because many people have discussed the variations of the cremation of care. They have accustomed it to Moloch worship in many cases. However, Moloch is never mentioned in any of these annals. Their god is clearly the owl deity. We'll get into all of that. But it is a ritual of sacrificing what they call care in the form of a human, a corpse, if you will. And I've seen it where they've already had the corpse on the altar, and it's a large person. But this describes what I believe Alex Jones caught was the rowing in of death, basically, handing over the effigy, and this at that time it was an effigy of a baby, and then lighting it on fire for the festivities to begin. So I'm going to read to you. That was, what was it? Bar Carole. Now, before we get there, get the thumbs up, and I want to say this. Over at Rockfin, where we are less than 1,000 followers away, 1,000 followers away from 30K, I just put a free link to all 3 discs. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I did not label them. So it's basically all the tracks in each one, which is 20 plus. It's people speaking. We may even play some more stuff from the Sounds of Bohemia. But I wanted to play what basically, there are different parts of the cremation of care on this first disc because it is a large ritualistic ceremony where they basically burn their conscience. Okay, burn all the woes of care. But let me read this to you. It started in 1921, at least this part of the ritual. And this is, by the way, give credit where credit's due. That is Charles Hart and his orchestra. Okay, let's see. In 1921, the Grove Lake was created, and those directing the cremation used it to transport the corpse of care to a funeral pyre. So prior to 1921, the lake that divides the people and the ceremony was not there. And remember, it wasn't always the owl that was there. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But the owl was actually brought by a guy named George Bromley, George T. Bromley, who ends up being prominent. Not only do I have the annals, I have a little bit more in my collection. We're going to see how long and far we go. But I also thought this was important because although there was no Grove in 2020, apparently, they just wrapped up the Bohemian Grove over the weekend, and there was little to no coverage. In fact, when I looked to it, the only thing I could really find on the Grove is that the club had donated to a local, it was some kind of an awards, and Conan O'Brien was there, and he received an award, and he spoke. And if you know anything about the Grove, you have a wide mix of big political leaders, spies, people within the art world, actors, actresses, etc. And throughout this, they kind of detail the different aspects of that. And why it's important is because this is where the Manhattan Project was born. All right? And if you know anything about the Black Ops world, that's when things started to get a little bit kooky. All right? And there are so many other things that you can connect to the Bohemian Grove, but it is out of that black world that I think that this is important because this is a network of some of the most powerful and influential men in the world. So I'm sorry I cut that off. But anyway, let's start it again. In 1921, the Grove Lake was created, and those directing the cremation used it to transport the corpse of care to a funeral pyre. To accompany this, they felt a boating song was required. That was the boating song you just heard. Several were written, but ever since the existing owl shrine was built in 1929, the belovedly haunting and dramatic Bar Carole of Charles Hart has been part of that ceremony. This remarkable 1930s recording is under the baton of Maestro Hart. So there you go. And in this book that comes with it, like I said, Mr. Bojangles. I mean, there's a lot here. I'm almost tempted to like play some of like I think I should just to give people the range. I don't want everything to be all so dark. But here's another track that's on that same one, Two Down the Line, to really get you to understand there was a lot of show tunes involved in this, aside from like the cross-dressing and those type of plays. So here you go. Let's play a little bit.
Oh, back in 1911, vaudeville was in its heaven. Everyone was doing it, doing it, doing it. Everyone was frivolous and gay. Comedians in baggy pants were followed by precision dancers. Then up on the stage, at a slightly smaller wage, appeared the old quartet, and in a style you can't forget, they open up and sing this way. Billy McCoy was a musical boy.
All right, that's enough of that. Now, if you want all of them, again, I don't have them marked. Maybe somewhere you can find the track list online. Otherwise, it's only really in my hard copy here. I'm going to put that away right now because I think that's done with the music portion. But as you can see, the discs are inside. It's a 3-disc set. These are extremely hard to come by. And again, it comes along with the sounds of Bohemia. And with that, why not start with the sounds of Bohemia? Let's open this up. It's the only one I have with this case. I'm not sure if they all came with these types of cases. But very interesting stuff. Let's see what we got. And on the inside of this one, you see what I'm saying right here? Okay. So let's do it. Let's go through and here we go. We got some artwork right out of the gates that may not be seen here. So this does really give a rich inside look of their history. For instance, here's one of the pianists, composers. The local orchestras were always allowed to be members as well because they played there, right? And there were all these different camps for all these different people. I think it was 119 camps if we get into the book there, and that book is kind of rare as well. But these are their inner writings, man. Take a look, okay? I want people to see all that. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share, by the way. Oh, there we go. That's an example of what you just saw, the Cremation of Care. Here's a little piece of art right there. And you can see that painting. And there's the orchestra playing. And even underneath, you can see kind of like the little horn thing on the top. That's where they have the sacrificial altar. Oh. So this one's which is this? This is 9. So it's actually one of the newer ones. Like I said, 2007. And I'm not sure if there's an 11 yet. I have 8 of these. Okay? And I'm pretty sure I have 10 too, right? I know one of them right now is actually still in its case. In other words, it's still wrapped. It's never been opened. And that one in particular, I had already scanned in when I worked for Alex Jones. He had that one. So, 2 books that go along with these and I think are really important for people to check out. You can find them online for various prices. I got good deals on both of them, but they're hard copies. They're nice to have. The Greatest Men's Party on Earth. Now, John Vanderzee actually gets to go there at one time. And I mean, we're talking about, when I say spies, I mean people like Richard Helms, Mr. MK Ultra, Mr. Dirty Black Project, somebody that Annie Jacobson actually writes about in Area 51 on his come up. I'm pretty sure she talked about how Richard Helms started his career as a journalist who was interviewing Germans during the Nazi era, pre-World War II. Okay, I never knew that about Helms, but it would make sense because, again, all those people were brought in through paperclip. Now, this right here, it really tells you, how I can't stress this enough. Not only was it the Manhattan Project, but when the United Nations started coming in here and codifying their relationship with the United States that now has gone completely awry. And if you watch all my documentary films, you know I didn't plug any of my stuff. I'm going to do that in a second so you guys can know where to find me. And again, if you want all those tunes right now, over at Rockfin, over in the chat section, go make a free account, follow me, go hit the link, and you have all of them, all 3 CDs, okay? So right here, the Bohemian Grove, during a multiple year period, because you have the Grove, which they meet for 2 weeks, and then you have the club in San Francisco. And basically the club in San Francisco was utilized after they would have these meetings for the dinners and the receptions after the fact as the UN came in. So this is the political establishment, okay? This is it. And we're not even getting into the dark stuff. We're just letting you know, hey, they're into weird occult rituals, and this is the guy that really brought it in. George T. Bromley, look how old this book is, man. I do have some really old ones here. This is the 4th annal, okay? You can see that one right there. That's pretty old. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, I think. That's, I think, what I have. I'm not sure if I have 10, but we're talking, this one's, here's Bromley right here. Good, I saw him. Where were you, George? There you are. So, Uncle George was the high priest for a long time. High Priest Bromley, you can read it right there. Okay? And, they talk about corpses, pyres, high priests. It very much is a ritual to them. And, I've shown a lot of this one. I believe this one might be a little bit older. Okay? Because there's 5 right there, so I have that as well. And this is from 1872 to 80. Now, I don't know if this is, officially the first one in print, but it's like a large scale one, but similar pages, right? So Bromley himself wrote this autobiography, okay? Now, I think I'm going to bring up the art one too, because that's pretty neat, some of the things they have in here. The long ago and the later on. And I mean, this is a autobiography about a turn of the century life. And Bromley also, has all these different positions to the point where this book mentions Bromley very early on in the book, and this book here. Now, he was so beloved, and this is what's really cool, is that this old book here, when I bought it, okay, that's a stain from that actual news clipping. So this is a real news clipping of the death of George Bromley that somebody put into this book. It's pretty incredible, right? I mean, wow. Body of Uncle George Bromley, buried in Woodland. Let's see, it says Woodland Thread, maybe? Years after his death, the body of Uncle George T. Bromley of the Bohemian Club called before his death the best loved man in San Francisco. Now remember, the San Francisco has the club, Weaving Spiders Come Not Here. And that's where these guys can associate. They can bring friends. Now, you can be a guest of the Bohemian Grove, right? You can also go there. It's ultra secure at this point after Jones and crew got in there. Ronson and Hanson also. In Woodland Cemetery yesterday afternoon, services at the Woodland Chapel were attended by the relative and many of the older members of the Bohemian Club with whom Bromley was intimately associated for many years. And before this, they had a large Buddha statue. In fact, I'm hoping one of these I grab, we'll be able to see that Buddha statue. But he also went to China, too. He was an envoy. And that's why there's a boat, there's the owl. And I think it's really neat that if you look at this, the scholarly looking owl symbol here is almost like the wise potato chip, right? And the owl deity is supposed to be a predator. It can see in the night. It's very wise. Some of these plays do have human sacrifice elements, et cetera, in them. And before we pull the next annal up, okay, and we're going to do that, I do want to remind people to thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Watch all my documentary films for free. We do need your help over at YouTube. Been demonetized for a very, very, very long time. You people know that. You want to financially support me, the links are down below. But please watch the films. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order, Define and Shade the Motion Picture. Later today, I'll be on with Magnus Panvidya. We're going to be talking about FBI setups, including what just happened. over with Whitmer in the Michigan situation, again, to demonize anybody that would oppose the narrative, put federal informants in there, create the plot, and then come in, swoop in, act like the saviors, and over-politicize it. So we're going to get to all that stuff. But again, we're less than 1,000 people away from 30,000. Over on Rockfin, I just put the link for all that music. So, go make the free account and go check out the chat there after this video and go grab it. We need more Rockfinners. We need more people like this guy that want to point to the fact that, there is historical reference. And even he talks about the ritual, like right in the very beginning. Maybe I should read that too. Because he says this is what kicks it off. Okay? Let's see. Should we read it from there? Yeah, why not? On the first Saturday night of each encampment, there is a ceremony at the lake whose origins date back almost to the founding of the Bohemian Club, with earlier, perhaps subconscious roots in the polytheistic ceremonies of the early Germanic religions. As the organ of the owl shrine plays a dire, a high priest summons a chorus of robed acolytes, whose assemble in a crescendo of voices. Next, at the priest's command, a barge appears, poled across the lake, bearing a figure beneath a pall. At the barge approaches the shrine. Two acolytes draw off the pall, revealing a mummy-like effigy of Care with a grotesque mask of papier-mâché. So this one he went to, like I said, when they row up, they don't hand it over to the high priest like you see in the Jones one. There's some plays on these. The effigy is placed upon the pyre. So maybe they do row it up. It's hard, or maybe it's in front of that when they reveal it. I'm not sure. The two acolytes advance towards the priest, bearing unlighted brands. Suddenly, from high on a hill to the right, there is an enormous jeering laugh. Ah, and we've all seen that if we watch the ritual. A screen of smoke appears and dissipates, revealing a dead white tree at a great height. From inside the tree booms the derisive voice of Care. Fools, fools, fools. When will ye learn that me ye cannot slay? So you can't slay your conscience. You're always going to be feeling bad about what you do. Year after year you burn me in the grove, lifting your silly shouts of triumph to the pitying stars. But when ye return your feet again to the marketplace, and I am waiting for you, as of old. Fools, fools, to dream you conquer Care. Now the high priest, who has switched into full vestments of purple and gold, replies. So now he's got a new little outfit on. Okay? Year after year within this happy grove, our fellowship has damned thee for a space. Just for a little while. And thy malevolence that would pursue us has lost its powerful power beneath these friendly trees. So shall we burn thee once again this night, and in the flames that eat thine effigy will read the sign that once again midsummer night sets us free. All right? And then he says, bring fire. So I would encourage anybody to check this out if you can find it. All right. Now let's see. Let's grab this one right here. Oh, these books are indeed heavy, by the way. We're not trying to have a bunch of stuff fall over on air either. And this is the art one, I believe. This is. Yeah, it is. So that's what's on the inside cover of this one. Like a fiery interpretation of their owl. You can see it right in the middle, right? No, that doesn't look hellish. So, the other one had the music in it. And again, these talk about different things. And man, I mean, this one is just full of old school art and different people. As you can see, the different nights that they had, the different themes. Let's see what we got in here. This one's, they're all pretty cool just because of the historical sense of it. Here's something I find interesting. A lot of these have like royal kind of plays in them. You see what I'm saying there? And the idea that they get painted up as royalty too. That authoritarian nature of these guys. Here are some of the plays that, you heard the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's how elaborate they are. Okay? Outside of the cremation of care, the opening ritual, if you will. Let's see what else we got. And I believe this might be Noah. They do Noah. I know that. I might be buying some of the plays too. I've really thought about it to expand my collection because I think historically it's important. Guys, only a little over 100 thumbs up. Can we get more? Can we do it? Can we do it big? That'd be great. We got 150. Here's some older school ones. Bunch of guys back in the day in drag. RuPaul ain't had nothing on you. Ain't had nothing on you. So that's the other thing. No females. And it's so funny that, like, in this woke era, at least that's not being brought up, that they've never had any female members. But then, like, Sotomayor's in the female type Bohemian Grove. It's just like the Masons have a female kind of sect as well. Going back to, like, ancient bloodlines and royalty and those types of, people sitting on thrones above, those type of things. You can see that's always been a major theme with the Grove. Okay. Let's see what else we want to grab here. I mean, there's so much stuff here, guys. Here's some older ones of them dressing up. Oh, and some of the artists doing their thing. Let's see. Here's a nice red one right there. So, let's see what we got. Dun, dun, dun. And then you can see kind of the Club Lounge. And the Club Lounge is in San Francisco. And if you watch my film, Invisible Empire, you see the outside of the club. You see the large, giant golden owl right on the inside of the club in San Francisco. Let's see. I know one of these or two of these have the Buddha somewhere. Several of them do. But that's, again, old school. Here's something. Here's a good one. It's a Christmas dinner invitation at the club. They love that owl, man. Can't get enough of it. Let's see what else we got here. I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, I could do probably an hour and a half, 2 hours just on each book, right? If we went through each and every page. Imagine me reading these on air. That would be dull and boring. But for the historians, they'd love it. Right? What? They would love it. Here's another Cremation of Care. And again, note the colors. I get that there's going to be fire, and you see the fire and the effigy and the kneeling and the owl figure in the back. Here's like an almost, this is from Spirit of Fire. This one. It's almost like a Loki-esque kind of deal. Spirit of Fire. Okay? Let's keep going. And then here's some of the, again, knights, Eastern philosophies. So much, like, almost like Babel towers on the left-hand side. So much interesting history here. And again, that doesn't even get into the very shady political history. Again, the burning the effigy of care, colluding with one another, helping to create world government, black ops programs, all of it. That's what's even hidden behind here. They talk about these people in one of them as their middle class, right? And this gentleman, I have one of those 1920s one. He is in that, right? I almost want to show you Bromley also here because I know that there's like a really cool picture of Bromley. Let's see. After that, yeah, here it is. Oh, keeps coming out. But the long ago and the later on, it's got that, yeah, right there, sheath. And there's Bromley. And he brought, again, a lot of that occultic stuff. Believe the hype. So, guys, I think I'm going to end it. I'm going to leave it there. We've been going for about a half an hour. You know the deal. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Rockfin, 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 Rockfin. The links down below are how you can support me. And again, if you go over to Rockfin, you go over to this video, you become a follower, you get in the chat, and you can get all of these different tracks. Let's see if we could just pull up another one. We'll play another track really quick on the way out, huh? The Bohemian Grove wants to thank you for this joyous stream.
Beauty and strength and the peace, they are yours.
We'll see you on the flip side, everybody.
They shall